I can see recording.
We are recording, and
Recording.
it's just coming up to 11:11. And Coco,
Oh,
I didn't realise that we met. You just said we met 2 years ago.
yeah. At one of the Goddess festivals in London, and you were doing your book, and yeah, when I met you, we only spoke briefly. I think some of your family were there as well. I think was it your mum or something?
My
I'm not sure.
auntie.
Or your auntie. I was speaking to your auntie, and then you came floating in and went, "Wow, your energy is awesome." You know, and I just feel, yeah, since we've connected on Facebook, we were kind of destined to meet or talk further. And
Yeah.
so I was just saying that I feel so honoured and seen by you for taking up the mantle with the comment that I made. Because I think I said to you earlier that it came straight out of my gut, out of a place that was so deep, so profound that I don't even feel it was my words. Yes, it was speaking through my experience and my mouth, my words, but that came from who I call she, the mother, because it's time, you know, to honour her.
Put this into perspective so that those listening know exactly. And I'd like to write that comment that you wrote that I can honestly say was the trigger to kind of move me onto another level. So we will put that comment, that piece that you wrote.
Do you feel like reading it now to frame it all?
Will you read it?
Yeah, I'll find it and read it.
I think that would be amazing, because guys, thank you for joining us. It's Shakti Kali Kaloksi speaking.
Yeah, we haven't even introduced.
It's so like, oh, we haven't introduced it or anything. Yeah, if you read this piece, I will give this little interview a title. And I just wanted, I was so longing to just connect with you after I read the comment that you put. So let's put some perspective in here. A friend of mine put a post on Facebook, and it was a post referring to an article in Elephant Journal about All Lives Matter. And I read Coco's response to that comment. We were already friends on Facebook. And I wept and I wept and I wept and I wept some more. And I shared it with a few people. And the next morning, I literally decided that that degree of truth had to take me to another level. And I decided that my work here is not to keep on teaching group Pilates classes online and in my studio. And it actually took me, the next day I quit my job, so to speak. It's my business. And that's what it did to me. The impact is still rolling. So it's been very, very profound for me. And that's really why I asked you, can we have a conversation? And
Yeah.
I'm so nervous about asking you, because it can feel intrusive sometimes, like when you know you've been blown away by something. And to hear your words and how you received that message was blew me away again. And I thought, this is it. We have to do, you know, we both know that we have to speak out about how this was for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd also like to speak to the momentum that it gave you, why it made you change, because I think that's an important key. But yeah, the comment was made, the article actually, I think the headline was, your protests are futile or something like that. The word wasn't futile, but that's how I took it. And then I read the comments underneath about all life matter and get over yourselves, let's move on. And I just exploded inside. And this is what I wrote. I get what the article is trying to say. Yes, there are many injustices that need facing in this world, but can we not for one effing minute hold the pain that has prevailed in the Black community for thousands of years? For any trauma to be transformed, it needs to be fully felt to heal. And I mean fully felt by all of us. Stop trying to skip to the next agenda before the many layers of injustice or justice have ever had a minute to fully exhale and out breath. We as a Black community have had to hold our breaths and swallow our voices for centuries just to feel safe in this world. It is suffocating to my Black body. The divine feminine is rising, and she has her own timing and order of revealing our collective misdemeanors. The dark goddesses are rising, and they are using their full feminine power to reveal to us the imbalances we have collectively agreed to and created. If they were all to be revealed at once, our collective nervous system would overload. Please let one energetic matrix come fully to its healing embrace, their holding, and in their holding space first. In the coming year, there will be another level and layer of injustice revealed that will begin to shake the dross from this world. And just as the Me Too movement needed its time to take hold, so does the injustice of Black Lives Matter. No one is saying then that protests and marches were futile. No, women and men marched en masse. Give us breath. Give us breathing space to feel the injustice that has been placed on our skin through centuries and through our ancestral lines to be felt. And give yourselves breathing space to feel your own ancestors and your own ancestral's part in it too. And as uncomfortable as that may feel, we as a Black community cannot rush our healing, and neither can the white community. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I know when I wrote that, it came straight from my heart, and I know it's been received through yours, and so many that have contacted me and said it touches them in a way that they cannot fully understand yet. And neither myself, this is like just taken on a life of itself. And but I felt it just really needed speaking to. I've been in the spiritual community for a long, long time, and that's kind of the community that I'm talking to, because I have so many beautiful friends and sisters who I call sisters, and I mean real sisters in that community. But I felt that some of them were being blind or needed to take off the rose-colored glasses and stop bypassing. And I also felt that the ones that have are standing by and out there promoting my work and other sisters, Black sisters' work, and just voicing how they feel and the grief that they're feeling themselves as well. That's arising, which is collective. And yeah, I'm holding space for all that. And I'm so, when I hear that you said you don't know how I was going to take it, I open my heart to everyone, because at the end of the day, my ethos is love and heart, and we're all learning in this, and I'm learning, and I'm having to step up. And if you knew where my life was like 6 months ago, it's like I've walked through the looking glass, I'm on the other side of the veil now, and I'm being pushed forward to speak up, and and this is what it's about. And you've had that same visceral response of, I need to change, I need to do something.
I've had to let go. You have to let go of the voice in your head that says you're not worthy of this, you don't know enough, you're not good enough, and all of those voices. And people think that one day you just arrive and you're talking and you're saying it, and people don't realise, I think often, that we're actually stepping to our edge constantly. Like every day we're pushing the barrier, we're stepping forward and forward. And when we talk about stepping up, that has a new meaning for me now, and I just honour, our bravery and our courage to speak up, and you speaking up. The word white privilege just meant nothing to me. You know, if you'd spoken to me 2 weeks ago and said white privilege, I would not have been that woman. And what you said has just completely shattered, you know, all of that stuff that I had that I wasn't even aware of. It's so unconscious, you know. So what you've done is you've held that torch, and you've allowed us to step through to another level, you know. It's too big for words, and I'm kind of just speechless. I just want to sit here and take you in and hear you speak.
Yeah, but you saying the thing, which is it's a new level of awareness and consciousness that we're stepping into. And I've had to do that myself, you know. I've had to numb so much of being Black out that I was grieving for 5 days just at how much I'd not even acknowledge my own Blackness, never mind anybody else, you know, just how much I'd had to swallow, suppress, push down, ignore, just to get on. And, you know, so I've had to feel all of that, you know, level of suppression within myself, not even from the outside world, but from my own indoctrination into a system that is so unequal and imbalanced that it's just normal, you know. It was the norm, it was my norm. Keep your head down, get on. And it's like the universe, my ancestors, you know, Dark Goddess, who I work with, is saying hell to the no, no more, me, step up. And I'll just put it into context of how much I've had to step up. This time last year, I had a breakdown and was close to committing suicide. It's all in my book that's just been released this week, which I'm really
wait.
Which yeah, I feel I can't even celebrate it fully, but it's called Suffering Unto Herself, and it's a collection of essays by 13 beautiful sisters from around the world who are all talking about how we've reclaimed our sovereignty. And this is what this time is about. It's not about all the race and the other issues. Yes, they are the nitty-gritty of it all. As I say, the bigger thing is that we have all given our sovereignty away in one sense or another, and this is about reclamation of that. And so yeah, through therapy and everything, and it's only in January that I've started coming back to normal, and it's just been a roller coaster since then of writing this chapter in this book, being called to speak up and out, and all the time I'm going, I'm not ready, you know, I've just come out of hospital. It's not my time. And it's like, this is the time. And it's so weird because when COVID hit, it was like somebody turned a switch on me, and it went, this is what you've been waiting for. And it was like I suddenly just came out of my funk and fuzzy head and thought, oh my God, we're in it. We're in the awakening. Because what COVID has taught me is that it's shown a level of separation. That was the beginning of showing us a level of separation of those that are standing in their full sense of I create my own world or listening to outside influences. And it also created what I've seen around my community, where I live in West Yorkshire, of people coming together and beginning to understand really what that sense of community is, and building and understanding that the things in the world affect us all. Just because we haven't seen it before and it's not been on our doorstep, the COVID woke up to the fact that we're one world and something can affect us all. And this is the same thing with the race issue, that yes, we've all been getting on, doing our work, doing our thing, saying, yeah, but you know, I've got white friends, black friends, we're all in it together, all love, all is one. And it's like, no, can we just stop that for a moment? Because everything has to be felt. If that's one thing I've learned on my journey of healing in the last year, of having to sit in my own solitude, my own darkness, and facing it and understanding that that darkness, that process of dying to the old self, is essential. We cannot move through to the new world without it, because that darkness is where the seeds flourish. That darkness is like the darkness of the womb. That's what I call it, where new birth can begin. And this is what I'm seeing. And it's so uncomfortable, so uncomfortable. It's ego shattering, earth shattering, because everything that you've held about your identity and your sense of self in the world has to go, because we are leveling up to a consciousness that we've never ever seen before. I haven't got a clue what the hell I'm doing. You know, every day is a new rebirth, because every day I wake up with a new level of understanding of who I am and where my place is in the world and what the world is actually doing, and all this universal force of the feminine that is rising now, that is wanting to flow through us, to open our hearts, open our minds, you know, and get us stood solidly in our own power and sovereignty. Bloody hell, it's like, you know, I'm having to breathe every other minute, you know, just feel the force of it, because it's immense,
Yeah.
you know. I
It's
never knew what I was doing, Shakti. I never knew. I always thought, oh yeah, I'm into the feminine, and yeah, kind of get it, do my little meditation on the morning and whatever. And it's like, no, to feel her is to feel her, and you'll know it when you feel her, because you will not be able to sit idle or not speak.
no. And it's funny, you said earlier something about coming back to normal, like there is no normal.
Yeah.
There is no normal. And what I really noticed was when I read your piece to various friends, and I sent it in Messenger to a few people, the friends who I consider maybe are not awake and just not knowing what's going on, you know, their level of reaction was, wow, that's powerful. And that's a touch, that's the beginning.
Mm.
And you know, I took it like it just like went boom into my whole being, you know, and every level is okay. And what I'm hearing from you is like, if we just consider that there is no such thing as past and future, like all timelines are just playing out at once. We're just reclaiming, like you say, our sovereignty. Like we knew this, but we were so in our heads, our egos, our conditioning, our beliefs, you know, our programming, that it's unconscious. We don't even know potential we have as human beings, and what you and I are doing, and like it's almost like we've been kind of being swept along, where I find myself saying to myself, is this your ego? Like, and I say, I love you, ego. I hear that you're trying to somehow control me or make me feel frightened, but I've got to do this anyway. And for me, that's how it feels to be stepping up. It's like, just whatever anyone thinks or says, I have no choice anymore. I have to do this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
The
doing.
word no choice. That's how I feel. I have no choice. You know, I'd love to be spending this time, you know, just floating around. You know, it's been non-stop since COVID hit. You know, I've gone from having no platform, no website, no nothing, to learning to build a website, writing a book, building platforms, writing blogs, doing speaking, and then now what's coming up as well is, you know, I'm starting a radio show next month. I'm being filmed, and it's like, I've just sit here some days going, what the hell is going on? I've been pushed on this wing of, you know, once the feminine gets you and you really feel it in your soul, in your depths, as this seed that has always been there, it's like, oh my God, I'm surrendering to this. I have no idea. I am no longer in control. You know, like you said, ego, step aside or stand with me, because my ego, I love my ego. You know, she's gone through so much to get me to here. Absolutely. But my soul has awoken, and, you know, it's in collaboration with the divine feminine. And sometimes I say that out loud and I still don't even know what it fully means, you know. I just know that I've got on the train and she's taking me somewhere, and, you know, the bags are packed and I'm ready to go along with the ride, because what I was living before or was, you know, not even 10% of my possibility.
Sweetie, your sound, I don't know if it's you or my thing, but make sure I can hear you in your mic. Just
Oh, okay.
that's better.
What were you saying? It's too loud, or you can't hear me?
No, that's better. It
Okay.
wasn't clear for a while, but
Okay.
that's better. Yes.
Okay.
Don't want to miss a word.
Yeah.
Don't want to miss a breath.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the train and I've no idea where this destination is, but I'm going to enjoy the ride as much as I can. And enjoying the ride doesn't mean that there won't be dark days, because God Almighty, there's been some dark days. It just means that I'm ready and willing to embrace it all, whatever shadows are going to be revealed, you know, whatever is asked of me, you know, I know it wouldn't have been asked of me if I wasn't up to the challenge. And, you know, I've really had to sit with my own sense of, why was I born at this time? Why was I born as a woman? And why was I born as a Black woman? That has to have some meaning, you know, and purpose. It's not just a coincidence, you know. So I've really had to sit and say, is this part of my path to speak to these things? And it may not be my own path, but right now it's what I'm speaking to, because it's in my face and it's in everybody's face, you know. And the process of trauma healing, because this is a trauma, you know.
Oh my
This
God, is this a trauma?
deep trauma. And this is what we're looking at. And we all know now the science to prove epigenetically, you know, it's passed down through the lineage, through us, through our bodies to our children, you know. And I don't want, when my children have children, to be facing the same bullshit. Sorry, because that's what it is. It's shit. But you know what we can do with shit? We can use it to grow fucking beautiful flowers. So we need to look at it and we need to transform it into something that's usable, which is why I don't get angry about it. I rage, yes, but my rage is sacred, because I am feeling eons of trauma, not just from this lifetime and abuse that I've faced, but through my ancestors that I'm now connecting to, and feeling them cheering me on, and understanding that I was in my mother's, you know, grandmother's womb, you know. I carry her with me through my body. So how can I not be feeling all this? And how can you not be feeling your ancestors' part to play in this systematic, you know, over matrix that's been put on us around inequality, and, you know, one race being better than the other and other races being ignored or looked over? It affects every single one of us.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, I've had the most amazing response. I don't know if you saw it yet, Coco, but last night I read your piece on a live Facebook status last night. I couldn't contain it, because I did a heart circle, and I was so in this energy of community and connection. And I went to do a live, and I suddenly thought, hang on, while I'm waiting for people to come on, I'm going to tell them I'm interviewing you tomorrow. Obviously, this isn't live. And it just felt called, because what your piece that you wrote said to me, or gave me permission to feel, was a sense of connection and community on a level I've never felt before. Like, it took me to that level. And I've had a lovely heartfelt comment from a guy called Adam on the wall, and he has given me his story of his upbringing, living on the ghetto. I think he has some Jewish, I think he might have a little bit of Black, and it sounds like he's got everything in him. But it was a absolutely gut-wrenching, heartwarming, beautifully spoken. I felt my heart opened for him, and I felt his grief. But this story, this awakening that's happening around this subject that you're speaking of, as you said, needs time to be felt. Like, we know everything else is going on. We know a lot more needs healing. You said there's going to be another something coming up for healing. But right now, this is the time for this skin color healing to be felt and to be witnessed and to be, so it's not diminishing. My nephew is gay and dating a black guy, you know, and the black partner spoke up on Instagram in the way that he felt, and he was speaking up. You know, everyone in their own way now has permission at last, whatever their level of awareness, whatever their level of articulation, people are speaking up. And this is the time, this is the container, as you say, right now for this.
Yes. I love the word container, because this is what it is. We are being held in a container of evolution, okay? And so we know the container is love, and that's where we're evolving to. And we are evolving to, you know, all lives matter. But in the container at the minute is Black Lives Matter. And in the container in a minute is injustice and inequality. And that's, you know, along with so many other issues, isms around sexism, you know, racism, you know, like you said, issues against transgender, gays, everything is in that pot right now. But that's the thing that we're seasoning the pot with at the moment, the race thing, you know. And so I hold the container of love, and I hold the container of, we are evolving to this, you know, sense of we are all in this together, and we are brothers and sisters, all of us.
Absolutely.
Okay? But we cannot get there until we look at the skin thing, because even consciously or subconsciously, that's a barrier between us, you know.
I didn't know
that's the barrier.
You have taught me, like I said, I've always considered myself not racist. I don't even see the color of your skin, right? That I'm conscious of. I don't see it. I see the heart. And I'll talk later to you privately. I connect so well with you. I love your sense of humor. I love your playfulness. I love your depth. Yeah. I don't see color. However, your post took me to a place I've never been before. And that's what I thank you for.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I never saw colour, Chatty, which sounds really bizarre, you know, coming from the other end, because I've had to experience things about colour, but I've always, even since a little child, carried this notion of there's something wrong there. There's something deeply wrong. Why is Susie over there not the same as me? You know? And always in my heart, I've carried it that on some level, we will reach a place where colour doesn't matter, but we're not there yet as a collective. And, you know, I've had to, you know, when my kids first went to school and came home crying because somebody pointed out to them that they were a different colour, mixed race, you know, why are you lighting? And that's the first time that they comprehended that they were a different colour, and so many things. But I don't want to speak to that. I want to just speak to the fact that what you've just said, we all know up above, there is no colour, you know, but down below, what we've created in the roots that need to take hold is the fact that the system that we are living in now means that my life has been very different to your life, and not because of, you know, finances or whatever, just because of the colour of my skin. And this is what we need to feel, so that that can be transmuted into, yes, we are all the same. But until we feel that, it's like, you know, you can't sweep things under the carpet. We're going to trip over them. You cannot, you know, the carpet's full. We're walking over it. And it's like, you know, I know that's a challenge, because I can tell you, I swept so much under my carpet, you know, in my life, and I've had to, you know, just pick it up and see, is this usable? Yes. Is this not? Let's get rid. And I'm just loving this sense of what I see growing, this sense of what you spoke about, this open-hearted connection. Because when we connect heart to heart, we can then create a field between us where we can look at the uncomfortable and feel the uncomfortable without blame, without shame, without guilt, without, you know, saying, I'm right, you're wrong. You know, there is no right, wrong right now. It's all what we've classed as normal. We're all waking up to the fact that shit, it's far from, it may be normal, but it's far from natural.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think this is the bottom line, isn't it? It's like when, and as I said, I'm doing a lot of heart circles at the moment. So I'm like, the amount of courses I'm doing, it's like, it's almost shooting. It's like I've got a rocket up my bum and I'm almost giddy with this awakening. The energy is just so high and so powerful. What was I going to say? I can't even remember what I was going to say now, but it's just taken me to a place where, you know, like last night, that's what I was going to say, in Circle, you know, Circle is a place where people are allowed to name how they're feeling without any coaching or advice or judgment or trying to change. So every part of one is welcome. Like if you're feeling like on the brink of suicide, or if you're feeling broken, or you're feeling shame, or you're feeling tightness in your throat because you're so scared that other people are opening up and you don't want to, that part of you is welcome to this party. Like every part of you is welcome. And then we can breathe. And then, you know, at the end of the session, everyone's feeling joy, not because they've suddenly happy, because the joy is felt through being allowed to express your feelings. So when you talk about, this is a time for the Black people to really, and all of us, like all of us, to feel, really feel. You've opened this door. You've opened this door, and it's like the floods are coming in. And I don't know about you, Coco, but I'm feeling everywhere I go, every conversation I have, hearts are opening up, like more and more and more. Like the floodgates are opening to whatever level or degree people are at in their awakening. There is a sense of, this is becoming acceptable to speak truth at a deeper level, to be more authentic than we even knew we could be. Like we're not even conscious of how authenticity can be felt, because I don't know about you, but like I'm having conversations even with the decorator that I've never had in my life. I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm so hearing you. Yeah, I've had some really profound, deep and uncomfortable conversations with
your sound. I really hope this sound out. That's better.
Yeah, I'll come in closer.
Yeah, come closer. Come closer.
That's more of me. Some uncomfortable conversations, because I got triggered the other day. I belong to another group of women who call ourselves Women's Conversation Leads, and we run little events for women to find their voices. And someone mentioned the acronym BAME, which is Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic. So I have to say it out loud because I don't like the term. And I said, please don't use that term, because it's a political term used to clump, you know, Black, Asians, minorities, and all other ethnics, which includes travellers, into one thing. And it's like, can we not have our own sense of identity at this moment? And at first she couldn't understand why I was like opposed to it at the moment. And then, we spoke the next day and had, you know, this feel between us that was created was just so authentic and so from the heart and so from the soul. And it was almost like a clarification of what my mission is, to kind of bring this sense of authenticity through. Because my biggest thing why I almost committed suicide last year was because I've had a really difficult path with the masculine in my life. My father was an abuser, and you can read that in the book. And it took me a long time to own my own masculine. And when I did, it was practically suicidal. And because it didn't know how to feel. It didn't know how to express those deep, dark emotions. And I see that every day on the planet, in the masculine, in women and men. Suicide rates going up because we don't know how to feel at that depth and express it without thinking we're going to be shamed or shut down again. And my feminine had to wake up and step up higher to say to the masculine, I'm here. I'm here and I will support you to grow, because she had to step into a whole level of forgiveness to the masculine, and also she had to embrace her own power so that the masculine and feminine in me could come in unity, so that we could speak truth no matter how challenging that was. And that is part of this collective growth as well, that our hearts have to open, the masculine feminine side of our hearts have to open, because it's been so suppressed, and the feminine side has to rise in its power, because that's the thing in the feminine that's been suppressed. And
I'm
when
going to have to replay this, because your words are so powerful on my system that I need to listen to 5 words at a time and take an inhale, and then play another 5 words, because this is so powerful. And anyone who's listening to this who is really feeling the same, like, and if you and anyone who's listening to this who is slightly lost, play this back again in a month and another month and another month, because I believe that these words will support you in your awakening. I'm noticing, even listening to, I don't know if you're a fan of Matt Kahn, Coco.
I used to listen to Matt, but I haven't in a while.
It's not in a while, but I'm noticing, I'm listening to old recordings, and their meaning is different and more. And I just say that to anyone else, because what you just said, my system, like, I just needed time to almost grieve, and the rebirth, and the, you know, it's like oh, I can literally feel my womb going like, oh God, you know.
Imagine how I feel. This is on the daily, you know, since this feminine energy is connected to me, it's like, feel this.
I can't wait to be one day in a circle with you, running a circle with you, a retreat. I can't wait to be in the woods with you and just let this feminine just so powerful. And I contain mine so much as well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going to just breathe that in for a moment, because yeah, I've had a strange journey with words, and I never knew I was going to be a writer or a speaker, because through my sexual trauma when I was young, I became mute for a while, and I'm dyslexic. And also my dad used to ban books in the house. He used to say, writings, you know, don't want that crap in my house, kind of thing. So it's been a very long journey to find this voice, and to understand the power of what's coming through. And even saying that, you know, my little girl's going, oh, you think you're all powerful? But it's like, half of me, it's like, well, yeah, because I know it's coming from a place that ain't even from this body, you know. And other half is going, Jesus, what on earth is happening to us, you know. But I realise that is my gift. My voice is an activation, and I've had to dig, you know, to the depths of the bowels of my shame around words to get to this point. So I try and use them wisely, but I must remember that each time I speak on this level, it is an activation, and it is for transformation.
Yeah.
And before I got on the call, I was just sitting with the intention of what I wanted to come out of this call, and it was that a spark of the spark of love goes out and hearts begin to open, because I know when my heart began to open, it was very, very painful, because there was still so much unprocessed trauma in there. And this is why one of the reasons I stand back from the, you know, all love and light, because you're missing the middle bit, guys, you know. We have been so systematically traumatized from the day we were birthed, our sovereignty taken through, you know, birth certificates and the lot, but we won't go into that right now. So to reclaim our true heart song and voice, we have to go through the mire to get there. You know, we cannot bypass it.
No, and I think that I to be honest with you, this as far as this is cutting edge spirituality. That we, you know, it's been called out and named, all the spiritual bypassing, and I was a part of that whole thing as well. You know,
Yeah.
I remember going to Glastonbury about 8 or 9 years ago to a weekend course with a love and light couple, and being shamed around the fact that I wasn't conscious enough because I was talking to someone on my phone before the course started. It was in their living room, and I felt so shamed the whole weekend for not being spiritual and love and light enough. And like you said, with the journey of my life and the meeting of the scenarios and the stories that played out in my life that have taken me to the depths. But you and I have had this necessary apprenticeship in our lives so that we can be here now as a sort of beacon for others to, you know, to see it's okay. You know, you've had a breakdown. Sometimes I think, am I mad? Well, even if I appear mad, I still have to do this work, because there's such a fine line between, you know, like if we didn't have the grounded and the connection to the divine, you know, we could go off and be, you know, totally crazy, but we're held in that, you know, in that just that sovereign power that is our divine right. And we're so programmed, we're so in the head, and all these beliefs about how we meant to be, that how do human beings have a chance, how things have been in our history, to even begin to step into this new paradigm. So, you know, this is leading edge, this is cutting edge, and we can no longer preach love and light if we're not willing to face the feelings that have never been felt. You know, it's essential for our growth and our you know, for our awakening. And this is what's playing out. This is what's playing out on the planet right now. You know, all this crazy chaos. I mean, what's going on? There is the divide between fear and love is just so clear for us to see right now.
And maybe it's a good thing that it's clear for us to see, because then we can bring them together in an, you know, together in alchemy. And two things I'm going to say to that: we all want to reach for the love and light. However, we've got to come down off the mountain, because even the biggest oak tree cannot fucking grow tall without deep roots. You know, and also, you know, there is nothing more spiritual than being human right now.
Yes.
Nothing. And that means embracing all our humanity, because we've, you know, it's all ours.
Yeah.
All ours. The light, the dark, the happy, the sad, it's all ours. If we want to preach all love and all one, it's then take this as well, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Take this too,
for sure,
and transform it with the light that you know, you're happy to talk about. Transmute it and show me that this is what being a light worker is, because I don't call myself a light worker. I'm struggling even with the concept of spiritual. I am human, you know. I'm an ordinary woman that's been awakened to its extraordinary things through my own pain.
I totally hear you, and I think that's a very interesting. I fancy a nice little sniff of geranium. I
want some too.
Geranium, I promise you. I totally agree, and it's interesting, isn't it? And it's interesting what I mean, you and I could talk for hours, and we must do this again. Just to wind up, because I feel like I want to wind this up a little bit now, because I feel like I sit and talk to you for weeks, quite honestly, and I want to come to Leeds and meet you.
Well, my daughter lives in London, and I'm coming down soon. So
I'm in London.
So let's meet her.
Without a mask.
Yeah. I'm not even going there.
No, don't even go there.
What mask? Oh, God.
Yeah, mask. Interesting. What was I going to say? I can't. Oh yeah, no, just the idea of a new word, because you know it's our attachment to our understanding and our beliefs around a word. But I agree that, like, you know, the word spiritual just kind of doesn't mean anything, and I'm very much drawn to connecting with people in my tribe who speak my language, but I'm also really interested and curious to read posts by people who are, you know, we're all attempting to articulate what is true for us, and
Mhm.
I've been learning the language of the heart over the last 3 or 4 years, because,
Mhm.
you know, I've noticed like the way that I feel into the energy of what comes out of my mouth. And it's a practice of working intuitively and trusting. You know, I've never thought of myself as a very articulate person. My father came to this country as a refugee in 1956,
Mm.
didn't speak a word of English, brought up on the streets, watched his mother raped by the Russians. You know, I mean, a horror story. And I never thought I was clever enough to write a book. I never thought I was bright enough to
Mm.
speak. You know, I never had a voice really, because I didn't consider myself that intelligent. And yet
Mhm.
I have to just let go of all that conditioning, all
Yeah.
of those ideas, and just come as me, just being me, and trying to do my best in the world. But then even then getting out of the way and just and we've all got that. We've all got that connection to a higher power. So
Mhm.
whether you call that being spiritual or being human or whatever you call it, like, you know, maybe we need a new word of just, I mean, authentic. I think authentic was the word that came up last night in our circle, you know, just.
Yeah, you'd frozen a little bit then,
Yeah,
but
you froze as
yeah.
well. Yeah. Do you have a last, I've really enjoyed this, Coco, so much. Do you have a final word or message or?
Um, just to feel, you know, that's all that's been asked. And it's a big ask of us at the moment.
Yeah.
Just to feel and find safe spaces and safe people that, you know, can communicate from the heart, that won't shame you for feeling things that may seem out of place, or you know, you have, like you said, you didn't know you were holding this conditioning within, um, and a place where that can be voiced, because that's what's necessary, you know, for that to start percolating and moving. Because once that's broken up, this matrix of inequality for all of us can begin to shift. And that's all that's necessary. And, you know, when I first started speaking out and was like getting directives from Goddess, I was like, oh, is that all I have to do? Be myself? Just speak and just listen. That's it. You know, it's so simple, but on another level, it's so hard because we've been so conditioned not to really listen to emotion, because one, it can feel uncomfortable and trigger things in ourselves, and two, it's just the nature of our human existence at the moment, which is, you know, we all strive, we get on, we don't feel things, we push through, and it's like, no, COVID, if it's taught me anything, has given us space to begin to feel. So let's embrace that space of time to feel, listen, and heal. And then see what the next stage is, because I can guarantee there's going to be another one. You know, I've already been preempted to strengthen my inner core and sense of self, because, you know, this is just the beginning of the wave of evolution to get to where we're going. So, yeah.
Well, Coco, this is the best interview I've ever done. I really, I'm just like, this is just like, thank you so much. I'm so glad we've connected.
Oh,
I hope the sound has come out okay.
I do.
I hope whoever needs to listen to this enjoys this and shares it, because I feel so honoured and grateful to have met you. And I really do. And I just feel like you're my sister. You are another me, cleverly disguised as you. I just see you.
Ain't that the way? Ain't that so? And it's so beautiful, because before just coming out of hospital, I was saying, like, if I'm going to do this, whatever this is, I want to start collecting to the tribe or my people that understand me and can see me for the first time, because I haven't felt seen for a long time. And I just want to honour the fact that I'm so, so appreciative of you. So honestly, you know, you've brought me to tears over the last few days in such a good way, and you've kind of encouraged me to stand up and speak, and like, it's like, wow. Yeah, thank you, beautiful sister, for
You are so welcome, and it's so wonderful, because I've seen you on Facebook for the last few years, and this is the first time really, because that day that I was doing my book launch, I was in chaos. It was very stressful. It was so
I know.
stressful. And it's so lovely to meet you sort of in person online. And just really feel your vibe and your energy, and I connect so much with you. So I just, massive thank you. Lots of love, darling.
Lots of love.
Take care. Speak soon, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.